This week I learned saying that something is for beginners means you can't read at all. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back, another weekly update as spooky season is in full effect, and I am having a great time at it. I hope you are as well. So with this week, guys, lots of fun things happen. We're going to talk about all those. We're going to begin like usual with what am I reading. I finished All the Fiends of Hell. I actually left the Kindle downstairs, so I can't show it to you. But that's by ℚ𝕦𝕣𝕉, in case you missed it. More of what I said last week. Very good, like a hat tip to War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, done in a very R-rated manner. There's a lot of violence, obviously. There's a lot of messed up things in it, but never in a point where I feel like it's going to be unapproachable for anybody. It's just as compared to like War of the Worlds, which was written over 100 years ago. Obviously, the content's a little darker, but a really compelling novel. It's one of those where I feel like it won't please everyone because you don't get a lot of answers, and I think if there were an alien invasion, we probably wouldn't get a lot of answers. So sometimes in these stories, the invaders are not looking to communicate. They're looking to eradicate, and that is the case with Neville's monsters here. But a great book. I had a great time with it. I was surprised, like I said last week, with the element of found family and it making this character a lot more likable, Carl. It was one where I wanted to see him succeed because this was a guy who hadn't done a lot. It made me think of a lot of zombie apocalypse movies where, it's just some guy, just some lady who, wasn't really just kind of drifting through life, just kind of as it were, nothing special. And then once that moment happens, it's how you step up when those moments matter. And Carl really does, I think. And I really did enjoy that relationship with him and the two kids in this. But a fun story, as much as you can enjoy something like that that's quite that dark. But like I said, if you like stuff like The Last of Us, I think, and maybe like The Good Years of The Walking Dead, but without the zombies, maybe something else, I think you'd like it quite a bit. I had a great time with it. And I would say that ℚ𝕦𝕣𝕉, it's got him back on the course now to where I definitely want to check out more by him. So Last Days was kind of a miss for me, but I admittedly wasn't too much into like the cult thing. But this Alien Invasion, it's almost always a winner for me. And after I didn't like Mercy of Gods that much, just kind of scratched that Alien Invasion itch that I was wanting with that book. So very happy with it. And it's a great. Right now, I'd say it's probably the leader for spooky season. But I also finished Slewfoot by Brahm. I almost called it Brahm by Slewfoot. But this was a quick read. Really good. I enjoyed this immensely. The thing with this is I just finished it this morning, so I'm still kind of processing it. I felt like the way I described it was, imagine Arthur Miller's The Crucible, or maybe Robert McCammon speaks in Nightbird, but it was like if Guillermo del Toro was making a movie with some of his monsters in it. That's kind of how I felt about this book. It's people who like The Witch, I think by Robert Eggers, are going to like this book quite a bit. It has a lot of things to where you just kind of look back at the time period, all of a sudden you're going to be like, that's just not right. I mean, that's how things were 300 years ago, So I understand those parts of it. But with me, it was just a very creepy book. It wasn't quite scary. I've heard a lot of complaints saying that like they felt it was almost like on a YA level. I would say it's somewhere between YA and adult. It's not quite crossing the boundaries, but it's also not quite like a preteen level because there are very dark and twisted things that happen in it. But a lot of these things, if you've studied American history at all during that time, you know that a lot of these things were happening, and they were horrific. But the monsters in here, I'll give lots of credit because the monsters were really cool. I won't even tell you what they were, but there's the main culprit, and then there are the three under minions, and I liked all of them. I thought they were all really cool, really neat ideas that they played with in this. The last 30-40 pages do kind of go to Crazy Town, and that's why I'm kind of like still processing some things. I think you kind of would expect that with a book like this, to where it doesn't become predictable, I think. But I guess I would just say it didn't quite go the way that I was expecting it to. But again, if you like a movie like The Witch and you like the way that movie kind of went, I think maybe you'll really appreciate this. But a very good first effort for me from Brahm. I'll definitely check out Child Thief next because I do own that one. But I liked it enough that I am going to read more of his stuff. And again, his artwork is just amazing. Make sure you get the physical version with this awesome artwork inside because you're going to want it. Trust me. It's really cool. So I'm having a great time with spooky season so far. It's like Hollow Places. I was mixed to positive on it. All the Fiends from Hell, really positive on it. Brahms' Slewfoot, I say I'm positive on it. So that leaves only one thing next, guys, and you know what that is. The only thing that is left for spooky season is our Scott Baker and the Warrior Prophet. Book 2 in the Prince of Nothing. Now, my biggest regret last month was that I had planned my schedule ahead to do Bloodsong and not continue with this when it came to my fantasy offering, because I loved the first book, and this Our Darkness Comes Before. I loved it. I loved it, and it was in my head. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And now that I'm about to get back into this, I'm like, oh my God, hope I can remember everything. You know, it was just a month ago. But it's one of those things. It's like there's so many moving parts, and I think once you get immersed in a world like this, it's kind of hard to let go. So I'm sure I'll slip back in quite easily. I don't know. I'm hoping, because I felt like that first book, it was like there was just so much to process and so much is going on that you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get all this. And then like the halfway point, everything just clicks and it just works so well. So I'm hoping when I start this one, I'm not going to feel like it's a reset and I got to kind of gather up everything again. I'm download all that stuff from the Matrix into my brain and start over. So I hope it just kind of picks up where the last book left off with the Holy Wars. I think it's going to. And everyone just about that is a fan of the series has told me that Warrior Prophet's going to be my favorite in the series. So if it's better than Darkness That Comes Before, holy crap, this might be my new favorite series, because that's up there for my book of the year right now. So I'm very, very excited to continue. And that's, I guess I should have told you guys, that's what I'm going to read. I skipped that part. What I'm going to read, obviously, is The Warrior Prophet. That's all I have left on my spooky season schedule. But if it's anything like The Darkness That Comes Before, I'll probably take a good 2 weeks with it or so, and then maybe start on my November reads a little bit early. How about this week on the channel, you guys? I did my book haul for September, and again, you don't need me to tell you what's great about a book haul. It's my opportunity to say thank you to everyone for everything that they did send me, and to give some independent authors a shout out, and I was happy to do that, showing off some of those amazing broken binding special editions. And I've never gotten as many salty comments as I have about getting that Canticle for Leibowitz edition from Folio Society. And, you know, some of them just like fun jabs, and some of them were just kind of mean. And I was like, what was I supposed to do? Tell Foley something? No, I don't want that. I do not want that. So I understand how people feel about that, because it is kind of unfortunate that they did send that to me and wanted me to show it off, and then it's sold out on their website. So I kind of understand where people are coming from on that one. But book hauls always generate a lot of discussion, and I am happy for it. Kind of my big spooky season video that I planned, one of two big spooky season videos I planned. This one was to do my best horror books for beginners and authors. With this one, I had done that best fantasy series for beginners a few years back. And I thought, you know, people have asked me to do a sci-fi one, do a horror one. And I was like, sci-fi, I haven't read enough really to do that for you guys, because it would just be me talking about Dune and Ender's Game and Hyperion. That'd be it. You know, because I'm not really as well versed in sci-fi. Out of the three, that's the one I know the least about. But I was like, I feel like I know enough horror that I can put together a video like that. And that's what I did. And I separated it into categories and stuff like that. But I put it real clear in the beginning of that video. Me saying beginners didn't mean like you're beginning to learn to read. It meant that if you're already on an adult reading level and you're just not sure where to begin with horror, these are some things I would recommend for these reasons. And I listed each one in each category for what I thought was the easiest to read to the most difficult to read. And I got so many people being like, oh my God, these are so hard. Why are you not doing like easy books? I never meant beginners meant easy. That's not really what I mean by beginners. It's just, again, you're interested in trying out the genre, and it's just so why you don't know what you're looking for. And that's why I broke it into different categories like body horror, you know, coming of age horror, nostalgia horror, things like that. Just kind of depending on what you're looking for. So yeah, do I think that H.P. Lovecraft is the best place for someone who's just beginning to read to start? No, of course not. Do I think that's the best place to start if you're already on an adult reading level and you're ready to try some horror? Sure, I think so. Is the writing style a little different? Of course. They wrote differently. They spoke differently 100 years ago. But I definitely think it's one of those that you can kind of get your brain used to it after a few pages, and you just kind of settle right in. So that was kind of the biggest feedback I got for that, outside of a lot of people just like, well, thank you. They had never really tried anything. That was the whole point. I just wanted people to try some of these series, some of these books, and some of these authors that I think would be a good entry point to you if that is what you're looking for. And that's why I broke it down by category. So it's a genre that I'm picking up new authors and learning to like, you know, like Brahm, who I just did, you know, like I just did Grady Hendrix again. I did T. Kingfisher. So I'm still learning about a lot of new ones. So horror is going to be one that just continues to expand. So this could be a list that I change in a couple years from now. Who knows? Who knows? But I felt like it was a good enough mix where if you're looking for something in spooky season to pick up, I think there's something on there might strike your fancy. And I only have one Stephen King book on there. And a lot of people thought that I was going to be very predictable and name like a dozen. I am not. I just did one Stephen King book. And if you've watched this channel long enough, you know what my Stephen King book is, and you probably knew which one I was going to pick. So over on Mike's Media Reviews, we're doing a ton of our spooky season movie reviews. We put out one like every other day this week. We've already recorded ahead a little bit. We're going to record some more tonight and get all those out because we've watched about a dozen movies already between the ones me and my wife picked and the one that us and my oldest son picked, and we even watched a couple with my youngest kid as well. I'll talk about that there, but make sure you're subscribed. I would appreciate it if you guys pop on over there if you like movies, and I think most of us do in TV shows. If you want to hear us talk about them, I think it's a lot of fun. It's fun to have someone to bounce things back off of, because I did come up in podcasting, so it's nice to have a co-host again, and that's kind of what we're doing over there on Mike's Media Reviews. A lot of people are like, you're going to change the name now? And I already asked my wife if she wanted me to, and she said, absolutely not. So she's already doesn't feel secure about being on the internet at all, so she definitely doesn't want her name in the title. How about some next week plans, guys? Got a couple of things. Going to be doing a Talk About Nothing, and it's going to be tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow being Saturday, October the 12th. It's going to be about 1 p.m. my time. It's going to be about 7 p.m. UK time because my guest is from the UK. It was one of those where I just kind of opened up and said, hey, what are some horror booktubers I think out there that you guys would like me to have on for October? I thought I had a couple. Was going to have Gavin Reeds. He's just got schedule problems, so that didn't work. And so I asked ℙ𝕦𝕤𝕤𝕤, and Ollie is going to come on the channel. That was the one that got recommended a ton. Leslie over at Nerdy Narrative was very adamant about me asking Ollie to come on the channel because she thought that we would hit it off. And we're both Stephen King fans, and we both do enjoy horror, him a little more than I think. And we're going to I'm sure that those things will come up in that discussion. But what I like about Ollie's channel is he's like myself in that he keeps himself to a schedule. And I like that. He does keep himself on a strict video release schedule. And I'm excited to talk to him tomorrow. So we'll be hit up the channel about lunchtime tomorrow, lunchtime if you're near me or in the States. And we'll be doing that one live and taking your questions. So the rare Talk About Nothing on a Saturday due to the time zone difference, but that should be a ton of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. And then I guess you'd say my second big video I had planned for spooky season is I'm finally going to do a Why You Should Read, guys, about Stephen King. I mean, why wouldn't I? I can't believe I haven't done this video yet. So if you've been a fan of this channel and you don't know why I love Stephen King, I mean, you might actually learn some new things there. Otherwise, if you're a constant watcher, you might have heard all these things before. But I think while I'm waiting to continue into the multiverse because I don't have any on my schedule right at the moment. And yes, I am doing that because I'm putting off finishing Dark Tower again. Hot takes will abound, you guys. With that, I figure getting Stephen King content out consistently, at least once a month, while I'm not doing any new reviews or that tier list people have been asking for. It's going to happen in 2025, guys. Tier list number 4 is going to happen next year. I have to get through the ending of Dark Tower before I do the next tier list. But Why You Should Read on Stephen King should be a lot of fun. I'm going to put together a reading introduction for that one because why would I not? That's my favorite author ever. And to me, it's just going to be how do I get like my favorite Stephen King quotes down to about a minute and a half? That'll be the hardest part for me. So that video might take me all week. So it might be a little bit of a wait between the Talk About Nothing and the Why You Should Read Stephen King. And like I said, we'll be doing more of those movie reviews for spooky season over on Mike's Media Reviews. Do got a couple of TV and movie talk things here before I go. This might be a hot take. Beetlejuice was just all right. I had heard from everybody about how they were surprised at how good it was. And I saw that critics and audiences actually agreed on it, and that's very, very rare. Look, I've seen the original Beetlejuice about 137 times, and it keeps getting better every time I see it. So, of course, the bar was set a little high. For me, it was like what I felt the bar was for this is just don't be insulting to the legacy characters and just don't be an embarrassment. That was really the bar. And it wasn't. It wasn't. I thought the movie was decent. It had a little too many characters for my liking. It was like several characters that were there that were like, you could cut them out of the story. Like Willem Dafoe and Monica Bellucci could have cut their characters out of the story, and I don't think it would have changed very much. And the comment I keep getting back was like, if you wanted Monica Bellucci out of the movie, you got problems. Like, yes, she's beautiful, okay? But again, we're talking about as for the character, it didn't really need to be there because the resolution was like, that was dumb. I kind of liked the part with Jenna Ortega's character and the boy that she meets in the treehouse in that one. I think that Jenna Ortega's great. Everything I've seen her in, I've liked her in. I think she's kind of like the it girl in the horror, the French horror genre right now. Because I was kind of worried that she was just going to be playing Wednesday Addams in this, if she was just going to try to be like Lydia was in Beetlejuice, but she wasn't. It was very, very different. So her performance was great. I think Winona Ryder coming back was great. And gosh, I can't think of her name. She plays Moira on she's Delia in this, but she plays Moira on Schitt's Creek. Anyway, she's great. She's always entertaining. I like those three, and I felt like I should just focus on those three. I didn't need all the other characters really, but the whole thing is, how was Beetlejuice? And the problem with this that I have is I didn't feel like Michael Keaton had the energy. And could he match what he did in the 80s? Of course not. That's 30-something years ago. I don't have that kind of energy, but I think for 10 minutes of a movie, which is about what Beetlejuice is in this, I think I could, take a Red Bull and have the energy for that. I don't know. I felt like the script might have let him down a little bit because I didn't need like this weird overdub flashback section. I didn't need this weird musical section that they did. And if you're going to do that musical section, it's fine. I like that song. It's a great song. But I was like, give me a verse and a chorus. I don't need the whole song. And I thought the forcing people to lip sync was funny. The people going into the phones was kind of funny. Clearly a commentary, I think, on everybody not being able to watch a movie without staring at their phones. I don't know. So there was fun things about it, and I had a good time, and I chuckled out loud more than once. I actually thought that Bob was more funny than Beetlejuice in this, and that's just tragic, man, because when the juice is loose, man, you're just waiting because he is in such a small presence. You look back at that original movie, he's in it, 15, 16 minutes? But you remember the time he's there. I can't think of one really memorable line in this. I think the most memorable moment from Beetlejuice in this is when he does the stamp that says shit out of luck. And he didn't even say it, So I don't know. It's kind of a disappointment. It could have been worse, but it's like if I'm saying that like if the rating scale is like the Star Wars sequel trilogy and Cobra Kai, it's somewhere around here, I think. It doesn't quite reach the heights that Cobra Kai is able to do with the legacy characters, passing it down to the new characters. But it definitely wasn't like Star Wars sequels bad. Not at all. Not at all. So me and my wife are going to actually do a full-on review for that and talk about our discrepancies on it. But I think her exact words were it was mid. It was mid, which is fine. That's kind of what you need with a sequel this many years later. Kind of what you would expect, really. But yeah, it could have been much worse, but it definitely could have been better. I just got to say before I go, guys, real quick, on MGM Plus, and I know that people are going to say, I don't want another streaming service. I understand that, and I am never, ever going to criticize people for that. I think that we're paying for cable again. But on MGM Plus is the best show that almost no one is watching right now. Guys, if you liked Lost, and I mean like the good years of Lost, take away the flashback stuff. Just make it all where you're getting the weird questions on the island, all that juicy stuff that you want to know so much more about. That's what is. And it is a mile a minute, man. This show just is crazy, crazy addicting. You're just asking so many questions. We're only 3 episodes into season 3 right now, but every single episode ends on a cliffhanger where I'm like, oh my God. And the thing was, I binged season 1 and season 2. This is the first time I've had to wait, and it's excruciating. It is really, really painful having to wait between these episodes because they're oh so good. Harold Perrineau is just spectacular on this show. Again, there's your Lost alum right there. It's just so good. It's just got so many damn questions. The acting is great. The soundtrack is great. The ambiance really just hits so well. I cannot recommend it enough. I think that the first season is free if you have Amazon Prime. Please check it out, guys. I think you'd really, really dig it. Maybe by the time you get caught up, season 3 will be done. You won't have to wait very long. You can do that MGM Plus free trial and just binge through it real quick, like I did with Shudder recently. But yeah, is just a spectacular show. It is pretty violent. It is pretty messed up. It is a streaming show. It is what I call R-rated. It's violent. It has a lot of bad language. But again, if you are a Lost alum, you love the good years of Lost. Everyone was talking about the ending, but I'm talking about Lost when it was in its prime. You will like It's very, very good. And I am just so anxious to get so many more answers. And I hope this show goes a good 5-6 years just stringing some of these answers out, because every time it gives me an answer, it gives me like 3 new questions, and it's in the best way. It just really has you think. There's people on YouTube that are doing like full-on crazy theory videos that I haven't seen since Lost was a big time thing, where I was going to Lostpedia every day and talking on message boards. That's how long ago it was, because of all the theories I had about that show. So excellent show. Highest of recommends. I hope you guys will check it out. Well, guys, that was my week. I would love to know how your week went. What are you watching? What are you reading? What do you listen to? What are you playing? Drop in the comments, guys, and let me know. And have yourselves an awesome, awesome weekend.